Welcome, ladies and gents, back to the channel. I am your host, Jay Notion, and we are not broadcasting Destroy All Humans 2 Reprobed, and there's a very specific reason for that. So this is actually the final video of the playthrough, is the review. Now, the reason why I haven't finished the end of the game is because the PlayStation Plus service is just renewed. I downgraded to the Essential package, and Sony being Sony has moved Destroy All Humans 2 Reprobed to the Extra level package, which is going to cost me an extra £38, and we're literally talking 2 hours of gameplay left on this game. And I personally don't feel that it's worth paying the remaining money to upgrade to that level to finish the damn game. And if I was to just buy the game individually on the store, it's going to cost about £37, so it's roughly the same price. And again, it's not worth it. So apologies, guys. I didn't round the game off as I wanted to, but I think we've played through 3/4 of the game. We're literally 75% in the story in terms of where the trophy marker is. And I think we've got enough to just jump in and talk about the review. So again, really sorry we didn't get to witness the ending. It's an old game, so if you really want to see the ending, it's out there. You can check it out online. You're not missing anything spectacular, if I'm honest, and that's kind of going to form the basis of my review as well. It's not worth it. So again, really sorry about that, guys. I gutted that I couldn't see it through, but in a way I was kind of getting bored of the game, and that's gonna form the basis of the review that I'm going to talk about. So this is all about the review of the game, so if you are sticking around and you want to hear my thoughts, please do so. But in a nutshell, I don't think it was as good as the first installment, and I'll talk to you about why. So graphically, it's the same, really. It's the same as the first game. Nothing wrong with it. Nothing mind-boggling. Nothing sort of game-breaking. It looked more Fortnite in this one in terms of the use of the pastel colours and the saturation that was used. It wasn't a bad thing, but it looked weird in some scenes, especially on the facial models and some of the characters that you saw in the areas. There was minimal clipping issues, but there were still some sort of field of view issues when you were exploring the open areas in the city. In all honesty, I expected the cities to be bigger than what they were. They were quite small. You could probably get from point A to point B in about a minute flat if you're using the skateboard type move to glide through the city. And there wasn't much reason to explore the areas other than if you're a completionist and you're after all the trophies and you want to get all the good stuff and you want to do the mop-up, the power-ups, some of the side quests. But I wasn't interested in that. I wasn't interested in it from the off. And no part of the game when I was playing it made me feel like I wanted to. So that was a shame. I didn't get any insight draw from it whatsoever. When you play games like Final Fantasy, Elden Ring, Rise of the Ronin, Ghost of Tsushima, you want to Skyrim, you want to go out and explore and you want to find what's out there, and the side missions draw you away from the main story. I didn't get that in any way, shape or form in this game, not a smidge. But there's people out there that might have enjoyed it, but for me it was a bit lackluster on the graphics front. Nothing really improved, and on the exploration and the city type UI, the areas, the regions, it was literally just a loading screen. You go to a different area, which was great. It was bigger than the first game, yes, but I would much rather have had kind of how the first game was, in that you just go to different parts of America, and that's sort of fairly unique. In this one, whilst yes, you do go to different countries, it didn't feel unique or anything like that. It just felt like you were fighting the same enemies with different skins. There was no real change in your combat style of what you had to do. You just zap them, fling them across the map. And don't get me wrong, I absolutely loved the powers in this game. The powers is the main thing for me that absolutely sold the game in terms of fun. The ability to just telepathically or telekinetically, I should say, pick someone up, just fling them across the map, never got old. You can use powers within the ship as well, like a death ray. You can pick people up, change them. There was the anal probe gun made a return. There was a discus type gun that was new. The gadgets and the weapons were hella fun, and the combat was hella fun. Some of the voice dialogue was weak. I liked some of it in the beginning. I feel the beginning first 3 or 4 hours was the strongest part of the game, and for me it just felt like it switched midway for some reason. It just felt like we were doing the same things seeking out the same people. There was no twists and turns, whereas in the first one I wanted to keep learning more about this secret service. I wanted to learn a little bit more about the Men in Black and what they had to do with things, and there was a conspiracy around it. The government was involved somehow. There was a guy that was hired to assassinate Crypto in the first one, whereas this one, it's all about the KGB. It's all about the same stuff. Oh, they've got a secret weapon, and let's, spend 4 regions across the whole game trying to find out what that weapon is. But we know what it is, and there was nothing in the end that really surprised me. I have looked ahead and I've watched the ending, and as I said, guys, it's not surprising at all in terms of how it ends. Nothing's mind-blowing, nothing's new, nothing's original. So it's a bit of a shame that they dropped the ball, in my opinion, from the first part of the game to the second, particularly knowing that most people that are playing the second game would have played the first one. So it's returning fans. Admittedly, there will be new people that just dive in straight on this game and won't touch the first one. But I would like to think the majority of people that play it, this one would know and have played the first game. So with that in mind, I don't think it improved much at all on the first game. I felt like it did in the beginning. It felt positive. It felt encouraging. There were some really funny sections with like the dancing gun that made people dance, and the love machine, I think it was called, something like that. There was that hippie guy that had like a different voice, and we had to like go in as a disguise to pretend to be a woman and stuff like that. It was really, really funny. But when we sort of moved away from that first area, it just kind of fell off for me. There was nothing in there that really piqued my interest or even really made me laugh. I gave the odd like, great, that was funny, yeah. And then you just quickly forget it. There was no memorable moments after that. And I think for a game that's a sequel, you would expect improvements in all, if not most areas, plus some new content, some stuff that keeps you there, that keeps you glued. But unfortunately, we didn't get it with this game, in my opinion. The combat was great, as I said. I really, really, really enjoyed the gadgets. Loved flying the saucer around. I loved using the disintegration ray. I loved... Even the boss fights felt dynamic to a degree, although it was just kill the boss. We had like a Godzilla-type creature that we had to use our saucer a bit more. There was weak points on it. There was other bosses that kind of looked like reptilians, and you had to use the environment a little bit more. There was other bosses where they could fire back at you. There was a guy that had like a death ray gun, and you had to dodge his shots, and he had like KGB officers running in trying to protect him as well. So they were trying to aggro you as you were fighting the boss. So they felt different and they felt unique. Again, with the music, nothing memorable, nothing really stood out. It was just meh in the background. I didn't notice it. But I don't think, for a game like this, I think it's more sound effects, atmosphere, and voice acting. And unfortunately, it kind of failed on all of those as well. Overall, I don't want to shit on the game. I did have a good time with it. I had fun in some places. Some of the writing was great. Some of it was really, really cheesy. It was almost like there was 2 people, 2 different companies, 2 different directors, and 2 different teams that had 2 completely different ideas and directions for the game, and they just kind of sandwiched in the middle and just put both their ideas together instead of just kind of really figuring it. I don't know if I'm talking any sense. I don't know if that's true, but just playing the game and reflecting on it, that's kind of how I felt it went. It ended up being a sandwich of shit rather than good bits, bad bits, good bits, bad bits, or, bits that can be improved on. It just felt like it was 2 completely different games sandwiched together. And as I said, the first half was great. Really enjoyed it. It felt interesting. It felt dynamic. And then we had Natalia coming in. That was a funny dynamic as well with her and Crypto. Loved all the different weapons that were being introduced. You get to use the saucer a little bit. I enjoyed exploring the areas. But again, when you move away out of that region, it is just very much the same. You just go to a new map. Same stuff. Go here. Kill these people. Infiltrate this base. Get this mission done. Or infiltrate this area as a disguised person, as a human, go in and learn about this sort of faction or this person, pick up the object and leave. And quite often in between all that, it was destroy this building, destroy these people. Yeah, it was just very much the same. I know you're probably thinking, well, how much more can you go outside of that with the game that's called Destroy All Humans? But I don't know, you just need something else. You need something, even if it comes in the form of the voice acting or the writing of the game, or even the story itself. It could have taken a dark turn. It could have taken a turn that we didn't expect in terms of Pox or Crypto, but we didn't really get that. It was just kind of all predictable storytelling, characters, arcs, even the factions. You didn't really care about the factions, the enemies, the enemy himself. In the first one, the enemy was great. You wanted him to suffer. You wanted the faction to suffer. And it was a real... It felt like you were going along with Crypto to help him on his mission. Whereas in this one, it just felt tick-boxy. And it shouldn't feel tick-boxy. It should be fun. And it only felt fun in certain elements and certain missions under certain circumstances. And some of the voice dialogue was great. I found myself creasing. It was hilarious. And then other times, like I said, it just felt like it was a completely different team. Like a 4-year-old had written it and was trying to crack a joke from a really cheap box of Christmas crackers. It was like that. It was such a polar opposite of what the first part of the game was. And I do wonder if halfway through the development kind of dropped, or they switched teams, or they got other people involved in it because it fell off a little bit. I don't know. But that's just how it felt, at least. Whether there's truth to that or substance to that, I don't know. And you guys will probably do your research, but that's just my opinion on it. Other than that, the missions were fairly bland. As I said, it was come here, do this, kill this person. And whilst the first couple of hours are very great, they're fun, they're interesting, I think, again, if you play the first game and you go straight into playing this one, you'll get bored of that very quickly. Whereas I had a good 3 or 4 hours before I felt completely... to the point where I'm like, oh, I've got to really continue this playthrough. I've got to do another part now. I don't really want to play it. Do you know what I mean? I got bored of it quite quickly. And it's a shame to say that because it's a unique game. It's out there. It's original. Pun intended, is out there. It's original and it's not like anything else you've played. But you would also like to think because of that, they wouldn't run out of ideas. They can even pull off of like folklore. They could pull off of tales. They could pull off of stuff from movies, which they do. There is Easter eggs in the game, which I won't spoil for those of you that want to play it. They're out there to discover, but you just don't want to. There's no pull, there's no need, especially when now, in this day and age, time is of the essence. Everything's instant, everything's digital. There's streaming services, games to download, and there's big hitting games coming out, and I know this is a retro one that, you know, a lot of people probably won't be playing now because it's an older game, but I still feel it needs to be shouted about because it's a game that I've picked up that you guys chose for me to play, and I didn't have an amazing time with it. I just had a meh time with it, but it's a shame. The tone, the pitch was different. It felt exciting in some of the dialogue that he was saying, whereas this one, it was, I am Crypto, I'm going to do that, what are you going to think about it? It's like, it was all that. And then when you get to like 4 or 5 hours, you're like, I'm pretty sure he's saying the same things, just in a different way. Do you know what I mean? And then the character kind of becomes annoying, and you don't want him to become annoying because the game's fun, and you want the game to be fun. But that's just my honest opinion, guys. And as I said, I had a fun time with it. I'm not shitting on the game by any stretch, but I just don't feel it was as strong as an entry as the first one. Lots of stuff, I feel, that poked holes in this entry, unfortunately. Graphically, not much improved. The weapons were great. Music, was there music? I don't know. The writing wasn't as strong. The voice acting wasn't as strong. The missions weren't dynamic enough. But there were still some fun, genuinely funny moments in it, which I think picked me up from being anything lower than a score that I'm going to give it. Do you know what I mean? So there was parts of it that I really enjoyed. But as we get to this bit here, where we're closing towards the end of the game, there was nothing that really urged me to go out into the world to do those side quests, to learn more about Crypto, to really explore and want to. And in I know it's not a complete open world experience, but there's elements of an open world experience, and you would like to think with games like Fallout, Skyrim, games that would have been out around that time that this one came out, you would like to think that they would have lent elements that work from those games that allow people to feel like they're engrossed in those games and want them to get the full potential of their game. I didn't want to do it with this one. It was just, yeah, let's keep going. Let's just move on. Keep doing the story. I just want to finish it now. I just want to get it. I want to get done. I'm not really interested. And it's a shame. It's a shame. I don't often feel like that with games. I often enjoy every game that I play, especially ones that I live stream on the channel. But when for example, when I fired the PlayStation up just now to try and continue and finish it, when I saw the padlock and I saw the license thing, and it's like pay £37 to continue and download it, I'm like, I don't really want to. That was my instant thought, rather than, oh shit, should I pay it? It's, you know, I want to finish it, and the game is really fun, and I don't want to just stop and lose it. But I never felt like that. My instant thought was, oh well, let's just not pay the £37. Let's just do a little review video for the channel just to round the playthrough off and move on. That's how I felt. That's how I felt. But yeah, bit disappointed, but overall, if I was to give this a rating out of 10, it's a 6, I'm afraid. It's probably one of the lowest scored games I've done on the channel, but as you look, most of the games I've done on the channel are sort of high-end, well-respected games anyway. But they're all games that I've picked. Some of them you guys have picked, but they're all games that I've wanted to play. And this is a game that I kind of had in my catalogue, that I had a bit of time to chip through my catalogue, and I thought, why not? We've got some time, let's do it. Let's put it on the channel. But it was a bit naff, if I'm honest. A little bit naff. But it's a shame. It's a shame. But I had a great experience streaming with you guys. Thank you so much for everyone who commented on the videos, left a like, came in and watched the streams. It's not time wasted by any means, and I hope you don't feel like you've wasted your time watching it, because I did have fun enjoying the game with you, and that is what this channel and what everything that I do around the channel is all about. Game comes second. The experience and the fun, the atmosphere, the chats, the laughter with you guys is everything that comes first. If the game's great, brilliant, even better, total package. If it's crap or in between or below par, never mind. There's other games out there. We can just crack on, can't we? Not as strong as the first game. It's fun to a degree, but there's still elements I would like to have seen improved in this one that didn't happen. Writing wasn't as strong, but the guns, the weapons, the combat is still excellent, and there's still some funny elements in there as well. But unfortunately, story not as strong either. Bosses were great. So there's a lot of pros and cons, but I would say unfortunately there's more cons in this one than pros, whereas with the first game I felt the opposite. So there's my thoughts. Stay tuned for more, guys. Again, really sorry I couldn't complete the playthrough, but we're literally 6 missions away from finishing it, and it's in the Project Solaris area. So if you want to just jump ahead onto YouTube and check out those last missions, you can witness the ending, but in all honesty, I'm going to tell you now, you're not missing anything, so I wouldn't really bother wasting your time. Just stay tuned to the channel, obviously, for more content, more playthroughs. I've got a very fun and interesting horror playthrough coming up very, very shortly that I would love you guys to be a part of with me, because I'm going to shit myself. Thank you so much for watching. Until the next video, take care, and I'll see you soon. Peace!